Hello everyone, welcome to Tathastu-ICS. I hope you all are doing good. On 15th August, Prime Minister Modi had announced some schemes. They are Prime Minister Vishwakarma scheme, PM E-Bus Seva scheme, and all these schemes have also been approved by the cabinet, which is headed by the Prime Minister Modi. Okay, so one such scheme is PM E-Bus Seva, and we are going to discuss about this scheme. Okay, so let us start. By this definition, what is e-bus? Because the core of this whole scheme is electronic buses. So let's look at the definition of this scheme. So the e-buses are the buses powered solely by zero emission electricity sources for both propulsion and accessory system. It means there would be no pollution coming out from all these things, from all the buses, because there would be no usage of petrol and diesel. Okay, now what's the scope and cost? The PM E-Bus Seva scheme is estimated to be around 57,000 crore. To be precise, 57,613 crores, out of which 20,000 crores are to be paid by the central government. Okay, so the operational support, the scheme also has a feature of operational support, because this scheme is going to provide monetary support and the infrastructure support to the buses for the next 10 years. Okay, the scheme is designed to provide operational support to the bus services for a period of next 10 years. Okay, so this is a good example of decentralization and federalism also, because this scheme would be based on the partnership of states and the center. Okay, now the implementation strategy, because every idea is good until, or every idea is just an idea until you're implementing it in a better manner, in a very good manner. Okay, so there are two segments of implementation. This scheme will be executed in two distinct segments. One segment is the scheme is divided for, one is for 169 cities and another is for 181 cities. So let's look at the different segments. One is 10,000 e-buses. In 169 cities, 10,000 e-buses will be introduced through a public-private partnership. Now, what is PPP model? PPP model is where the public sector companies, or the government officials and the government companies and the private players come together, come along for a collaboration to achieve a common goal. Okay, this is broadly PPP model. Now, through this PPP model, in 169 cities, these 10,000 buses will be sent. Second is infrastructure upgradation. In other 181 cities, the primary focus would be the infrastructure, the betterment of the infrastructure, because ultimately these buses to run on the roads, these buses require infrastructure, good infrastructure. Okay, so the Green Urban Mobility Initiative, GUMI, this is Green Urban Mobility Initiative, will focus on improving infrastructure, bus priority, charging infrastructure, multimodal interchange facilities, and automated fare collection system. Now, what is automated fare collection system? In this system, you don't have to go to your conductors. Your tickets will come out through a machine, and it's a scheme, or it's a way to promote digital India. Okay, so you can say something like this. Now, what is depot infrastructure? Because all these things, all these buses, they are not going to run on the roads for 24/7. They would be requiring some breathing space, and that breathing space would be provided by these depots. Okay, so for the first segment, the development and enhancement of depot infrastructure, including power substations, will be undertaken to support the new e-buses. To support these new e-buses, new depots would be required, and these new depots will create jobs. Okay, this scheme is not only for better commutation purposes, or for the services of the citizens of these cities and the states, but also for job creations. This scheme is expected to generate around 45,000 to 55,000 direct jobs, contributing to the employment growth. Now, there are two types of jobs. One is direct job, which the scheme is claiming it would be around 45 to 55,000, and then there is another indirect jobs. Now, what are these indirect jobs? Suppose some chacha and he is there, and he installs a chai station or something like that in front of that depot. Okay, so this is indirect employment. Or a mechanic who relies on the betterment of these, or the servicing of these buses. So this is indirect job. So the opportunities of indirect job is also immense, and then there are claims of direct jobs also, that too in such a big number. Now, the coverage and funding, because everything requires specific coverage and you need money for it. So coverage is cities with population of more than 3 lakh and above. That it would be the all these cities, 161, 169 and 181 cities. These cities would be those cities where the population is more than 3 lakh. Okay. Now the union territory capitals would also be included in this, as well as northeastern and hill states are included in the scheme's ambit. Now it has been sometimes criticized that while making these schemes, there are chances or there are occasions, there have been evidences when these दूर दराज के राज्य ये इन सब चीजों को पीछे छोड़ दिया जाता है. They have been left behind. Okay, so in this scheme it has been properly taken care of. Now the funding model, the states or the cities will manage the bus services and the payment to bus operators, with the central government providing subsidies outlined in the schemes. Okay, so there would be central government providing subsidies to the states, and as I told you, it would be more of a decentralized and a better way of a federal structuring, better way in which a federal government can be worked. This approach promotes the decentralized management. Okay, so this is it. Now, what are the positive impacts of this scheme? One such impact is environmental benefit. Anyone can tell this, that after implementing this particular scheme, there would be environmental benefits with it. The adoption of electric buses will significantly reduce the noise and air pollution, contributing to cleaner and healthier urban environment. So there would be cleaner environment, healthier environment, and obviously noise pollution, sound pollution, water pollution, they are the parts of pollution. So by implementing this scheme, there would be the environment will be getting benefit from various corners. Second positive impact would be the reduction in carbon emissions. Electricity mobility aligns with India's commitment to curb carbon emission and combat climate change, and India vows that by 2070 India would be a net zero emitter. Okay, so for this to achieve, these kind of schemes are very much necessary. On the economies of scale, aggregating electric buses procurement is expected to achieve economies of scale, making electric buses more financially viable and encouraging their adoption, because there would be 10,000 buses. So the average costing of each buses, because the number of procurement, the total number of buses which are to be procured are in large numbers, so there would be a better scope of bargaining. Okay, so this is called economies of scale, where the average costs come at par with our expectations, somewhere our expectations. Okay, that is why it has been called that this particular scheme, this PM E-Bus Seva Scheme, signifies India's ambitious stride towards sustainable and eco-friendly urban mobility. Okay, it also highlights the government's commitment to job creation. As I said, there would be jobs will also be created with this. There would be direct jobs and indirect jobs, 45 to 50,000 direct jobs and indirect jobs, as well as is determination to transform transportation sector into a cleaner, greener and more efficient mode of commuting. Okay, so there would be the commuting would be cleaner, greener and efficient, because as I said, there would be systems where you don't have to go to your conductors for those tickets, for those specific tickets which are required. Okay, so let's just revise the scheme quickly, very quickly. So PM E-Bus Seva, cabinet gave the nod, and Prime Minister Modi is heading that cabinet. We all know that. Estimated cost is 57,613, out of which 20,000 crores is to be paid by the central government. The scheme will be supporting the operational cost of the bus for next 10 years, and the scheme is particularly for those cities where the population is more than 3 lakh people. Okay, and all the capital cities of UTs, northeastern regions and hill states are to be included in this particular scheme. Priority to the cities have no organized bus services. There would be priority to those cities where there is no organized bus service, and then there is specific that green mission where proper infrastructure would be provided for these electronic bus services. And the scheme is expecting that in the crisis of employment, in the crisis of unemployment, there would be an opportunity where 45 to 55,000 people are getting direct employment, and then there would be people who will be getting indirect type of employments, like mechanics would be there, like chai walas would be there, besides the depot of those buses. Okay, So this is it with this small scheme but important scheme, and we'll meet in the other class. Until then, take care. Bye bye.